Hello everybody and welcome to lower body mobility. Today I'm going to be explaining to you a little bit of the scientific rationale behind what we're going to do and then how to do it. These videos are meant to be a companion to the workout stuff that I'm going to be producing or I am producing currently because in order to exercise properly we need to make sure that we've got the right range of motion. Our current society is super sedentary. We spend a lot of time sitting around and sitting and being stressed out about things. We're all curled forward and we're on our phones and we're sending angry emails. And the thing about the stress response too is it just intensifies everything because it makes your muscles contract, right? So what happens is that your muscles normally are made up of sliding filaments that are supposed to move with a bunch of chemical reactions and lengthen and shorten based on these different layers. But when they're shortened for extended periods of time and you add stress hormones on top of that, all the layers get stuck together and gunked up. We call these adhesions or knots. They're the lumpy pieces. And then what happens is that your body can't move properly because in order to produce movement, we have agonist and antagonist muscles. The easiest example is your arm here. So your elbow, in order to bend the elbow, I have to contract my bicep and my tricep extends. And then the opposite when I want to extend. So that my bicep is extended and my tricep is contracted. I swear it's contracted. This is just loose skin. Anyway, so that concept works for your whole body. One of the major ones to think about, mostly we have issues with our chest and back, right? Because chest gets tight and contracted like this all the time. So then your back can't contract the way it needs to. Same thing with your hips. So when your hip flexors and your hamstrings are tight, then when you're in this position, your glutes and your abs are an extension. So you can't get glute contraction, you can't get ab contraction without having the right range in your hips. Okay, so that's the rationale. That's why we're doing what we're doing. I won't talk too long on that just because everybody's got a short attention span and this is a lower body mobility video, so we're gonna get to that. All right, so I've developed a system. This is quite lengthy. There's a lot of information here, but basically what we're doing is we're using lacrosse balls and a foam roller to push the blood out of the muscles. And then when we push the blood out and then it returns, it breaks up all the gunky stuff, okay? So you'll need a lacrosse ball. These are mobility balls that were expensive at Sport Check. They're not as good as a lacrosse ball. I just don't know where my lacrosse ball went. So something that's dense and that will stick to the wall. This one's harder because it kind of slides, but it's got knobby bits on it, okay? So you just want a dense rubber ball. Lacrosse balls are super cheap if you go to play against sports or something like that. And then a foam roller you're gonna need. I like this big long one. That's what she said. Because I can lay on it, and I'll show you that when I do the upper body video. You just wanna make sure you get something that's dense. This one will lose its density eventually because it's just foam. If you can find one with the PVC on the inside, it's even better. But yes, foam roller and some sort of dense ball, okay? So let's get into it. We're gonna start on the feet. We're gonna be targeting the areas that I mentioned with the posture stuff, but also your fascial lines. So there's connective tissue that runs from the base of your skull. There's two lines, base of your skull around in a spiral around your body, and it ends on the ball of your foot. So the first thing we're gonna do is roll your feet. Okay, so you're gonna take the ball and you're gonna roll your feet. Back as you can see. Okay, literally just like so. Use your body weight to push on it. You can use a ball, you can use a can, you can use a rolling pin, anything, okay? I'm zipping through this because again, short attention spans, short videos do better. So you wanna spend several minutes on each foot doing this, okay? Moving up, we're gonna do the calves. There's two muscles in your calves, so there's the gastroc on this side and the soleus on this side. So you wanna treat them separately when you're rolling them, okay? So you can either use the foam roller, which I'll do sometimes. So the foam roller is all based on leverage. So the idea is that you wanna get as much of your body weight onto it as possible, which is hard with your leg because let's face it, all the weight is back here, okay? So I'm gonna push, I'm gonna push on it. I went dancing, I danced around Saturday night in my bare feet for a long time. And my calves are why you do that? Okay, so I'm pushing, I'm rolling my calf, side to side. Use the pain as your guide. Wherever it hurts is where you need to push. So find those spots, push on it, and push the blood out. Again, I am zipping through this just for the sake of demoing, but you need to spend more time doing this if it's legit, okay? You could also use the ball on your calves. Like so. Again, usually I end up having an adhesion right there. So what I do is just push on that and hold it for like 30 seconds and then let it go. And then you just turn your leg on the inside to do your calves that way. Okay, calves. Quads. Quadriceps are the top ones here. They get really tight if we spend a lot of time sitting as well. The easiest way to do your quads is with the foam roller. Okay, again, the foam roller is based on leverage. So you want to get your body weight on top of it. Okay, so starting either at your hips or your knees. If you've not done it before, it might be easier to start like so. You can start at your knees otherwise. And you're just going to kind of army crawl and move yourself back and forth, okay? Now, you also want to ask the muscles to work while you're doing this. So you're going to extend and contract your legs, and you can lean to one side and just do one at a time. So now I'm just doing my right leg. Hey, 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 hey. Feels so nice, la, 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 la. Okay, also note with this, wherever your feet are pointed will give you a different effect. Okay, so if I point my feet out like a frog, that's the inside of my thighs. If I point my feet towards the other way, that's the medial part of my quads. If I turn them in, that's more the outside. But to be honest with you, to do the outside, you're better to like lean on this side and do it that way. Okay? As well, it's beneficial because there's a lot going on with the quads. They're big muscles. It's beneficial to roll not only vertically, but horizontally as well. Okay, so for that, I'm gonna put the foam roller this way. I don't choose this leg because this one's a little sore right now. So I'm gonna put the opposite leg across the foam roller, so it's in front. The knee that I'm gonna roll, I'm putting it on the roller, and then I'm turning sideways like so. Okay, so you can see my leg is on the roller. You don't want to take your, unless you've got a good balance and you like to challenge yourself, you can do it like this without your foot on the ground. But if this is your first rodeo, please put your foot on the ground to give yourself some balance, okay? And I'm rolling, I'm hitting like the side of my hip, and it sucks. Okay, so that's normal if it sucks for you. Just, if you find a painful spot, just kind of hang out and breathe and like actively, because right now this glute's like, no, stop! So I'm like, and like actively getting it to relax, okay? Quads. Next, now that I'm sitting on the roller. Also, foam roller is really awkward, so there's lots of like awkward transitions and falling off of it. That's a normal thing. Okay. I'm gonna roll my butt with the foam roller as well. So, just as it seems, rolling my butt. I'm gonna do one side like so. The other side, you can make it more intense by taking this leg. So I'm rolling my left glute. I'm gonna take my left foot and put it up over my right one, like so. Same thing on the left. This is my right leg. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, and now hamstrings are tough because you have to get your body weight on them. So it's harder to do. Like you have to try to lean into it, or I'll do like one at a time and use my other leg to kind of push it down. The other thing that I'll do with hamstrings is use the ball, and then I'm just gonna move the camera angle here for a minute. Okay, I use a ball, and then a hard surface, so there's a bench right here, super handy. And I put the ball underneath my hamstring, ha ha ha, la 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 la, like roll, and then naturally my quad and my hip flexor are like, no, so it's pulling my leg up like this. So I'm just gonna take a second and I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna breathe. And get that to relax and just kind of find where your tough spots are. Usually on my hamstrings, it's like outside and near the knee, medial, and then kind of like inside the groin. Everybody's a little different depending on how long your legs are, how your feet are shaped, how you walk, all of that. Okay, so just find a spot and roll. You can also do your butt while you're here. Do your glutes when you're sitting on the chair and roll your glutes with the ball. You can also roll your butt on the wall like this. Okay, so like this. This is hard with the bench there, but like that, okay? to release your glutes with the ball. In addition to that, oops, I just kicked that far away. You can roll your butt on the floor with the ball. Okay, so this is a brave one. Okay, any ball will work. A softball is good for this. Okay, and I'm taking my foot, the glute that I'm rolling is, the foot is on my knee. And I'm just tracing a pattern. I'm gonna go this way, I'm gonna go this way, I'm gonna go that way, and just kind of roll my butt like so, okay? And then the last piece I'm gonna show you is for the lower body mobility is the hip flexors. Now, hip flexors are the psoas, run really deep. They're not superficial at all, so it's hard for us to get pressure onto them to let the blood push out of them, okay? So they run from your spine, there's two on either side, and they go through your pelvis, underneath your quads, and they insert down here. If you feel, don't move away, you stay there. Feel your pelvis, okay? So the top, and it's hard to tell because my pants are so high up here, but my hip bones are here, okay? So if you feel your pelvis and you go in, there's a soft spot there. And if you push on it, it probably hurts. Okay, so hip bones directly in from there, you can get your psoas from there, and then down a little bit into the groin. So it's kind of like a shape like so, okay? You can feel there's a bit of a cavity there. And again, if you push on it hard enough and your hips are tight, it's gonna hurt. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna jam the ball in there. Or you can use a kettlebell too. That's the other thing I make my clients do sometimes when we're at the gym, because the kettlebell it has more height. Okay, so you take the ball and like figure it out while you're up like this. Okay, so figure out where your spot is. That's where the ball needs to go. And then you quite literally, oh, my hip just popped. You just lay on it, like so. And then I'm taking this knee out to the side, and I'm gonna just chill. And then I'm gonna kind of like grind on the floor. Okay, and then I'm gonna straighten this leg, and then I'm gonna just lay on it. And you wanna stay on this one for like 5 minutes on either side, okay? And fight the urge to be like, you have to be like, nothing feels better than a ball in the psoas, la 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 la. It doesn't feel very good, but it works, okay? So, thus concludes hip mobility. Although, you know what, actually, I feel like I should overlap with this one and do low back, because it's also, I was gonna do it in the upper body one, but it's also pretty relevant, because if your low back is tight, your glutes won't fire. Okay, so in case you're just looking at this one and not the other one, you can also use the foam roller to roll your low back. Okay, so start up here. It's all based on leverage. So you wanna get your back onto it, and you wanna make sure you're not holding your breath. Like so, go nice and slow. Okay, and if it's really tight and it takes your breath away and you can't relax while you're on your low back, just put your bum down and kind of rock from side to side, like so. Okay, you can also, oh, my back is cracked, yeah. You can also use the lacrosse ball on your low back on the wall. So if you're rubbing your butt on the wall, you can do your low back, which I'll cover in the upper body video. Thus concludes lower body self myofascial release with the lacrosse ball and the foam roller. I'm gonna film the upper body video now for the complete set. Hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if you have any questions.